Hi, I'm Jeff from Circuit Demon, and this is our new 2022 WRX. Today, we're gonna remove the bumper, remove the headlights, and put a bunch of stupid stuff in them. So in our first video, we went through and we removed a carbon air intake filter, as well as did the interior LED bulbs. We are going to be doing the headlights today. So I wanna check out the fog lights, the headlights. We do already have some products that we're gonna put in these headlights we had made a little while ago. So we're gonna open those up with you guys, show you how to remove the bumper, and then put everything back together. So we're gonna pop the hood and get the tools we'll need. Just from experience working with these cars before, we're probably gonna need a 10 mil, a push pop panel popper, a panel popper tool, and a flathead screwdriver. Don't look at me. So the first thing I'm gonna do is start with the most obvious parts that we need to take off. We're gonna start at the top here. So across the top are gonna be a couple different 10 millimeter hex bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 of those. And look at this lovely little tray here. Looks like there's some holes to let the water go down. Very nice. Nice Subaru. So next we're gonna have 3 larger push pots, one in the center and one on each side, as well as these little small ones. Let me show you how to take those off. So there's 4 open sides, like a cross. You're just gonna go in one with a flathead and twist it. You don't wanna pull the center because it's gonna re-engage the push pot. What you're gonna wanna do is push that center in just a little bit and then pull the base up. I'm actually going to leave these in here with the center pulled up. The reason I do that is as I remove the rest of the bumper clips on the sides and underneath, I don't want the bumper to fall forward. If it does that, the grill or the front of the bumper paint could get scuffed. So we're gonna leave those just to make sure it stays in. I'm gonna remove these smaller ones though, and these ones are a little different. You don't pry the center up, you just push it in, and then I'm gonna use this tool. You can use a flathead screwdriver, and actually it might be easier to do that. Yeah, very thin. And then once you take these out, you're just gonna push them so they're like that, so this part sticks up. That way when you put them back in, you lock that down and it's back to how it was. In the wheel well, you're gonna see those same smaller style with the push center. There's gonna be one right at the line of the bumper meets the fender and then one right there. So same thing, we're just gonna push those in the center and then remove those. Next is the bottom. So I'm just gonna kind of point them out where I go. These are mostly gonna be those 4 open side style ones, the larger ones that we saw on the top. So we got one in the corner here. We got one up front here, right where the fog light is, right underneath the fog light. Oh, we have a new player has entered the arena. A flathead style one, so for this one, you're just gonna put a flathead in the middle and unscrew it like a screw, and then just push the rest up. There's one right in the center, and then one right on the sides of each grill. The ones on the sides are the 4 open side style, and the one in the center is that flathead style that we saw. So at this point, we're ready to remove the bumper. I'm just gonna take these 3 push pots off the front. I know the 2015's this black metal piece came off. It looks like it does now as well. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. So Shane's gonna help us grab the bumper just so I don't totally annihilate my fenders. Pull the sides of the bumper away from the fender. It sounds like death. Give her a good old rip. All right, we're gonna come forward just a little bit and just make sure there's nothing else that's holding the bumper in place. Did I miss one?
Yeah, you missed one.
Ah, here, I'll grab you that. Jordan, you mind just grabbing the green screwdriver there?
Yeah.
Oh, he's on it. All right, cool. So first initial thoughts, there's a lot of room under here. Especially this area. I feel the old car, I forget what was here, but it just felt like this whole area was kind of taken up. I don't see a DRL module like previous models, that it's usually over here on the passenger side. So that's something to look into as far as where that signal comes from. But besides that, everything's pretty straightforward. Really nice channeled radiator cowl here. That's definitely a lot more open. The old radiator would push way further out. So I'm not sure if just the whole front of the car just has more room. That's what it looks like to me. So next up, we're gonna take the headlights out, and I can already see a couple differences in the old and new style as far as retaining it. So let's get into it. So similar to the 2015 and up, these do have a black kind of headlight bracket that has the bumper sit between the headlights and this bracket. So we're just gonna take this off. There's just one 10 mil screw on the outer side of it. Oh, and another way too, just a little tip. Any of the headlight bolts, the 10 mils that we're gonna take off, have a Phillips head, and any of the bumper ones don't. They're just solid on the top. So that's a good way to remember which ones go to where. So it looks like right here that the bumper cowl kind of snaps into that blue clip. So that's just something that we'll have to pop out as we take this bracket off. And then the last thing that I see that's holding this on is another one of these little push pots. This one's different than the others. It looks like it's a bit smaller. So we're just gonna kind of wedge the center up, pull it out. That's it. And that just pulls out. I'm gonna put that under here now just so I don't step on it later. And as far as the headlight itself goes, it looks like that screw there as well as this one both held the headlight in underneath. The only other screw that I see down here is a secondary one on the side. So we're just gonna go right in there with a 10 mil. All right, so now we're gonna go up top. So on the fender trim garnish kind of thing, we're just gonna pop this off. And as we can see, there's a couple more push pots there. I'm gonna leave this one right here just so I know that it's part of this and I don't mix it up with the headlight. These ones are a little brittle, so just make sure you're very careful with these. Usually one of these 3 ears will fall off at some point, but we'll keep them on for now. So it looks like this metal bracket is gonna be in our way as well. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that so we can get these headlights out. So we had to remove the snuffleupagus. And then for these push pots, I'm just gonna put them back where I took them out of in this instance, just to remember exactly where they came from. So it looks like this is just 10 mil here, 10 mil in the center on either side of the hood latch, and then another 10 mil over there. So we will have to remove our nice nifty little tray. All right, so we have our 3 push pots out of there, and then it looks like there's another 1 or 2 here. I'm pretty sure these are just for alignment purposes. They don't actually hold this on much at all. So there are 4 bolts. And then I am, just like with the bumper, I'm just gonna pop these in here just to make sure this metal piece doesn't fall directly out. And this comes right off. All right, so at this point, that metal bracket's out of the way. We can go ahead and take these off. So I'm gonna come forward with it. Okay. And it looks like the only plug on these, which is very nice, is gonna be this main one here. So I'll get a shot above just so you guys can see it. So the tab is gonna be on the headlight side. You can do it from inside the car before you take the headlights off. And we're just gonna unplug that, and that's it. Everything else is on the headlight itself. First thoughts is, this is very handy. Yesterday, I tried to grab this plug from the wheel liner and I was able to take it off and put it on very easily, so that's nice and helpful. This is for the turn signal and the parking light. We also have this here, which is the amber parking light bulb, amber reflector bulb. So these are gonna get replaced with some LED components. Besides that, there are no serviceable bulbs. The low beam and high beam is the same projector unit, which is full LED. And then this one, like we talked about in an Instagram story real quick, but there is no sea light on this. So there's no open area that goes across the top. This is all just chrome painted. And then right inside here is that incandescent dual filament, which is the parking light and the turn signal. So that's one. We're gonna get the other one off and then we can open these up. So I forget what year they started adding these to the brackets on the 15 and ups. I think it was maybe like 2017 or 2018, but this is attached to the bracket. You can take it off or you can just leave it in there. I'm just gonna put mine right there. Cool, so we have both the headlights off at this point. We're gonna go ahead and open them. We're gonna open these a little different than the normal ones because this glue is absolute hell. We're back here, day 2. Check these things out. So we skipped ahead a little bit for time purposes. I need to drive my car. So we showed you guys the Demon Eye install. The Halo install, we showed you where we marked it for. After we dremelled out the area to allow the wires to pass through, we just mounted those back up. And then for the housing itself, we weren't sure if we were gonna leave the chrome or not. We did remove that, so the whole thing is black, and then the black amber marker on the side. So it's a really clean setup. It's not overdone. Very basic. It really kind of accentuates a lot of the headlights features, like that shape from the Halo. We do have like the honeycomb lens etching, the Demon Eye, and then we did just add in these carbide series GTR lighting bulbs. So these are resistor free, so you don't need a resistor for hyper flash. I don't think these have a flasher relay. As far as fooling any sort of like error system, we would need to run resistors. It's part of the BCM now, not a relay. So these will help with that. They fit in really good. That kind of amber reflection of the factory incandescent bulbs is gone. And these will also do white for the parking light and DRL, as well as amber for turn signal. So I think this is going to be a really kind of modern upgrade, really get rid of that gross amber color and just look better in the car. So we're getting ready to put these on the car. We just wanted to show you guys where we cut and then did that silicone seal. So I didn't really clean it up since we put it on there, but as far as the seal itself, you can kind of see it's just that really thin, maybe a 1/4 inch seal around it. It gets a little thicker here just because I wanted it to really have a good bond. But the only part you're going to be able to see from the top of the car is kind of this area here because the bracket covers the rest. So not too bad. So next part that we're gonna do before we put the lights in, before we start putting things together, is we are gonna run our wiring for the multicolor components, the Halos, the Demon Eyes. So we're using a Circuit Demon 2-channel remote. This just goes right to the battery, power and ground, and then we have 2 outputs per headlight. So we have one for the driver's side, one for the passenger side. And usually where we route these is we will mount it just below the driver's side headlight. So for this one, I'll probably mount it right around the horn area here. So it'll give us like easy access to the battery, and then we'll route the wires across the bottom. It looks like I can either go under this big old rubber thing. That may be the best way to go. Let's see where we end up. So Bluetooth remote is right over there near the horn and washer fluid motor wires. The drivers, these are actually what go from the Bluetooth remote to the headlight. Just trying to find a good place to put them. So as far as the wire that crosses over the car, I looked at a few different places to put it. First off, we want it like hidden. And secondly, just make sure there's enough slack to reach the headlight. So I'm actually gonna go up underneath the crash bar, the front crash bar. There's kind of like a cove up there. It's like flat and then a flap in the front. So I found that if I double-sided tape it kind of in that little 90-degree angle, it's very hidden and it should be pretty well out of the elements. So I'm gonna go for that. Should live a nice, happy life. So there's actually a wire that runs down the passenger side of the radiator opening. It looks like a sensor or something like that, but it does have like a white stay that goes right into the metal around the radiator opening. So I'm just gonna zip tie these wires directly into that because it's a nice rigid mounting point. So we are ready to put our headlights in. The wiring is all set. We're gonna put those in. We are gonna use dielectric and heat shrink on the connectors, which will show you, and then put the rest of the bumper together. So we're just gonna go ahead and test these out before we do anything else. Just make sure that the connections are all good. We don't have anything to worry about as far as hyper flashing for those new LED bulbs, and see how they look. Cool, so now I'm gonna use the dielectric and heat shrink. So heat shrink I'm gonna put over the male connector, just like that. Add some of the dielectric grease inside the connector itself, and then plug it into the corresponding wire. So we got blue to blue. Snap that in nice and good. and then evenly space it on either side of the connector there. Cool, now I'm gonna use the heat gun. So all of our components, as far as our builds that we make here, we do color code. This way the correct milliamperage driver goes to the right component. So Demon Eye is obviously smaller than a Halo is, so it takes less power. If we do plug in the larger power source to that smaller one, it could damage it. So let's just make sure that when you guys get your lights, and even for me installing my own, I know exactly what goes to what without having to double check. Same thing for passenger side. So at this point, headlights are all set. We tested everything out. Everything's working just like it should. So we're gonna put the rest of the front bumper back on. We already have this metal structure here. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do the tray, the snorkel, and the bumper itself. Every shop needs a Shane. So the bottom lip here, is a real bear to get on. So we had a little sidetrack. I like trying to figure out like why this wasn't going on all the way. And inside this piece here, there's like different bevels, and we were trying to get it to go into one, which wasn't correct. So that was holding the whole bumper kind of tilted up and not allowing the fenders to really line up correctly. So Shane that works here did a great job, like kind of getting his hand under there, kind of feeling what was going on. That's all set, so just be aware of that when you put your bumper back on. This bottom piece does not like to line up right off the bat. Thank you guys for watching. It was a fun process working on these headlights for my car. I'd love to do yours or give you the parts to do yourself. So everything you saw that we used today is available on our website. We will have a link down below on the YouTube. Let us know if you guys have any questions, if there's any modifications you want to see done to these lights. We will be doing some other sets very soon, and reach out if you need anything. Thanks again.